Up, up, up. And welcome to Vintage Garage. We make a half-hour weekly TV show here at Vintage Garage where we feature projects of interest to vintage racers. Last season we drove Route 66 from Chicago, Illinois to Los Angeles, California to tape the Southern California Timing Association's Land Speed record meet at El Mirage, a dry lake just east of LA. Today we're going to present the video of our drive out Route 66 from that trip. We've condensed a 7-day trip down to a single hour. Over the course of the next hour, you'll see the road as we saw it, leaving our shop near Washington, D.C., and then driving Route 66 from Chicago through Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and finally through California to Los Angeles. So let's get started. We have a full show today. Glad you're here. Our trip begins as we leave Rockville at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. We head northwest on Interstate 270 toward Breezewood, Pennsylvania. In Breezewood, we pick up the Pennsylvania Turnpike. In a few hours, we're crossing into Ohio. Later in the afternoon, we make Indiana. It's late in the day and our co-driver is resting for the late night shift. We reach Chicago on the Illinois Skyway around 6 p.m. that same night. We head downtown to the Chicago Loop. We're pointing southbound on Michigan Ave, waiting for the light to change. As soon as the bus turns, we'll begin our trip out Route 66. This is Adams Street in downtown Chicago. Up ahead and above is a train station for the loop. We're now further west, still on Adams. Illinois has done a good job at marking the trail of Route 66. We've passed a number of historic Route 66 highway signs on Adams, and this sign points us down Ogden Ave. We're now on Ogden heading toward Cicero, Berwyn, and Riverside. We're out of the truck to look at the sign at Robin Hood Mufflers. Directly across Ogden is a muffler man standing out in front of Bunyan's Cafe. International Fiberglass of Venice, California, turned out several thousand similar statues, and they've now become quite collectible. We're now at Ogden and Harlem. We'll stop at this White Castle and pick up a couple of cheeseburgers. We made it to the Wishing Well Motel on Joliet Road in Willowbrook. They have a vacancy here. This will be a good place to stop for the night. There was a light rain overnight and a bit of fog and drizzle this morning. In the daylight, we see the wishing well outside of the motel. This motel has been a Route 66 institution since 1941. Many famous people have stayed here, such as Guy Lombardo and his Band of Renown. We're north of Joliet now and heading southwest. We're on Broadway heading into Joliet. The bridge over the Des Plaines River is up and out of service for repairs. That sign says Highway 53 and Route 66 go left here over the bridge, but we have to detour to the right to miss the bridge repairs. The detour in Joliet takes us on Route 30, which is part of the old Lincoln Highway that runs from New York to San Francisco. Illinois has also done a good job of marking the trail for the old Lincoln Highway with distinctive signage. This is the Lincoln Highway Bridge over the Des Plaines River in Joliet. We turn right here to leave the Lincoln Highway and to rejoin Route 66. We're at Milano Old-Fashioned Scratch Bakery on the south side of Joliet. It's been baking cookies since 1915. This is the famous Milano Bakery. And we're going to get some baked goods to take along on our trip to California.
Yeah. Okay. One is twist. And a twist.
We're now south of Joliet. Route 66 is a 4-lane here as it heads toward the now closed Joliet Arsenal. This is Braidwood, Illinois. We got a 1/4 pound of sugar cookies and a 1/4 pound of Italian cookies at Milano Bakery, and we'll probably finish them off in another mile or two. The Route 66 drive-in is closed this morning, but no matter. We came to see the statues of Elvis, Betty Boop, and the others. We're just outside of Odell, Illinois, and this restored Standard Oil gas station is worthy of special note. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. We're south of Odell. A much older alignment of Route 66 is off to the right. We're between Odell and Normal. This is a nice old grain elevator. Interstate 55 is just to our right and parallels Route 66 here for a long way. This is Normal, Illinois. We need to stop here for some gas. This is Bloomington, Illinois, the next town south of Normal. Route 66 crossed over Interstate 55 south of Bloomington. The interstate is now off to our left. This is McLean, Illinois. We want to stop here at the Dixie truck stop. Dixie Truck Stop is an institution on Route 66. Inside Dixie Truck Stop, they have a convenience store and a small display of Route 66 items. We're south of Lincoln, Illinois. Route 66 is a 4-lane here. I think this is Williamsville. This is the north side of Springfield, Illinois. There's the Superior Ambulance Company in Springfield, Illinois. Up ahead, that's the State Capitol building. We're heading west in Springfield to pick up the very old alignment of Route 66 that dates back to the 1920s. There's another muffler man outside of Louderback Tire. We're on the 1920s old alignment near Verdon. We stopped here to look at the construction of the road. We see that this was originally a brick road, but it was covered at some time with asphalt. Someone's recently restored this section of Route 66 back to its original brick surface. They did a really nice job. It's surprisingly smooth. This is the town of Thayer, Illinois. This is a long stretch of the old alignment, probably dating back to the 20s. This is the Central Square in Carlinville, Illinois. They've done a good job keeping the town nice. We're south of Carlinville, and this stretch of the old alignment is in pretty good shape. This is the town of Gillespie, Illinois. This is Staunton, Illinois. We're south of Staunton. The old and new alignments meet up here. There's our first sign for Merrimack Caverns. This is Edwardsville, Illinois. On the right is the Bel Air Drive-In in Mitchell, now closed. We're on Chain of Rocks Road. Up ahead is the bridge over Chain of Rocks Canal. To our right is the Interstate 270 bridge, and to our left there's a canal barge heading south. We're still on Chain of Rocks Road. Chain of Rocks Bridge is just ahead. We're standing on Chain of Rocks Bridge, but this was the Mississippi River crossing for the old alignment. It was famous in its day for the curve in the middle of the bridge. It was said that the curve made it easier for the barges to navigate under the bridge. That's the I-270 bridge upstream. This is Madison Ave in East St. Louis, and we're heading toward the McKinley Bridge. That was the bridge used by a later alignment of Route 66, and we plan to cross the Mississippi there. There's Nürnberg's men's and ladies' clothing and shoes. We're at the McKinley Bridge and find it's closed to traffic as well. This too is a famous Route 66 bridge. The guidebook said it was in rough shape but open, but it looks like it may be permanently closed. We'll have to double back and make the southern crossing over the I-55 bridge. This is the I-55 bridge. There's the Gateway Arch, welcoming us to Missouri. We're in downtown St. Louis after crossing the Mississippi on the I-55 bridge. We're heading west on Tucker. This was an alignment of Route 66 for many years. We'll soon get on Chippewa and then Watson Road. I-44 is just ahead. We'll drive the interstate from here to Staunton, the exit for Merrimack Caverns, and then stop for the night. It's early Monday morning, and we're leaving the Delta Motel in Staunton, our stop for the night. Merrimack Caverns isn't open this early, so we'll continue toward California. Here Route 66 runs along the south side of I-44. This is Oak Grove. This is Sullivan, Missouri. This is the Sonic Drive-In in Sullivan. We're south of Bourbon. This is St. James, Missouri. Just east of Rolla, Route 66 crosses to the north side of I-44. We're still east of Rolla. This is Waynesville, Missouri. We used to hope for getting a weekend pass here when we did basic training at Fort Leonard Wood. We're on the interstate now. Route 66 is on our left, but there isn't much separation between the two and the view is the same from either. We've left the interstate behind. We're west of Springfield, heading to Kansas on old Route 66. The interstate takes a shortcut from Springfield to Oklahoma and bypasses Kansas altogether. This bridge is out on the old Route 66 alignment, and we need to backtrack and detour onto Route 69. This bridge crosses the same stream as the washed-out bridge on the old alignment. As you go out 69, much of the old alignment has been preserved, and you can take the old loops from time to time. We take as many of them as we can find. There's usually something interesting on each of them. This is Carthage, Missouri. This is the Sonic Drive-In in Carthage. We'll get a malted here and a cheeseburger for Einstein. This is Webb City, Missouri. This is downtown Joplin, Missouri. We're leaving Joplin. Kansas is just ahead. We're now in Kansas, heading toward Galena. This is Galena, Kansas, the oldest mining town in Kansas, and Route 66 ran right through the center of town. We're crossing the Rivington River and heading into Rivington, Kansas. This is Rainbow Curve Bridge, constructed in 1923 over Brush Creek, only remaining arch bridge on Route 66. Listed on the National Registry March 10, 1983. Up ahead is Baxter Springs. This is downtown Baxter Springs. Oklahoma is just ahead. This is downtown Quapaw, Oklahoma. This is downtown Miami, Oklahoma. There's Jeannie's Apparel on the left. We're on I-44 and Tulsa, Oklahoma is just ahead. We'll stay on I-44 and bypass Tulsa. To visit Tulsa would add a full day to our trip. We're on the old route west of Stroud, Oklahoma. This is Chandler, Oklahoma. There's the Lincoln Motel on the right. Oklahoma City is just ahead, and we'll bypass it on Interstate 44 and stay overnight in El Reno. It's Tuesday morning, and we detoured around the 38-span bridge over the Canadian River west of Oklahoma City. We drove down to the west side of the bridge to inspect the work and are now looking east. We're heading west from the 38-span bridge. It looks like a tough place to make a living here. This is typical Oklahoma countryside near Bridgeport. We've stopped to look at the road construction. It's made up of concrete slabs with a nice concrete curb. The builders took pride in their work. This is Hydro, Oklahoma. We're just west of Hydro. This is a Rock Island Railroad bridge. This is Weatherford, Oklahoma. Route 66 runs along I-40 for a long stretch here. We just saw the first sign telling us to stay overnight in Tucumcari. The landscape is a bit hillier here. We're just east of Clinton. This is Clinton, Oklahoma. The Rio Siesta Motel is on the right. This is the Oklahoma Route 66 Museum. We're going to stop here. Inside the museum, the lobby is filled with interesting displays. Pat Smith and Margaret Grubb are the curators.
What's the name of your TV show?
It's called Vintage Garage, and it's about old cars. Inside the museum, there are a number of display rooms, each full of care and packed with Route 66 artifacts. This room has a number of displays about the building of the road and its history. This room features many displays related to the automobile and gas stations along the way. One of our favorite rooms is this one. This is how we'd like our dining room back home to look. We're headed west near Foss, Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Route 66 Museum was one of the highlights of the trip so far, and it's a must-see if you take the trip. This is Canuti, Oklahoma. The Washita Motel is on the left. We're almost to Elk City. Route 66 is a 4-lane here, and judging from the construction, our side is older as the bridges are lower here. This is Elk City. We're back on the old alignment west of Elk City. It's worth the drive just to see the bridges. We're in Sayre, Oklahoma. This looks like the remnants of a way station. A very old alignment is to our right. Let's give it a try. This is Eric, the home of Roger Miller. Once on the main street of America, it's now bypassed by I-40. This stretch of old Route 66 is called Roger Miller Boulevard. It's 4 lanes and runs from Eric to Texola. It must have been 4 lanes just a few years before it was bypassed by I-40 and became obsolete. This is Texola, the last town in Oklahoma. We're now in Texas. Roger Miller Boulevard ended at Texola, and Route 66 became a 2-lane on the south side of I-40. There's quite a bit of separation between Route 66 and I-40 as we approach Shamrock. Shamrock is also a bit deserted. It looks like many of the storefronts have been torn down, and there are many empty lots facing Route 66. There's the U-Drop Inn, perhaps one of the most photographed landmarks on Route 66. It's currently under restoration. It looks like 6 guys are working on it today. I-40 is on top of the Route 66 alignment here. This is pretty typical of the countryside now. It's getting drier as we head west. The Leaning Water Tower is famous on Route 66, signaling our arrival in Groom. Groom, Texas is also pretty deserted in the middle of the day. back on I-66 west of Broome on the way to Conway. Interstate 40 is just on our right. There isn't much town at Conway, just a grain elevator and a single house. Route 66 is a beautiful 4-lane going into Amarillo, Texas. This used to be America's Main Street, but today we're the only one on the highway. We're on the east side of Amarillo, and there's some local traffic today. We're just west of Amarillo on I-40. Route 66 is parallel to us on the south side. That's Cadillac Ranch off to the side in the distance. This is Vega, Texas. We're back on I-40 west of Vega. Route 66 is on our right, and the view is the same from here. West of Adrian, Route 66 and I-40 share the same alignment, and the terrain changes as we approach New Mexico. It's hillier, and there are more signs of weathering. This is New Mexico. The area looks like it was once flat, and through the ages the softer ground has weathered away. This gravel road is part of the old alignment heading west toward San John. This is San John. There's Motel San John on our right. West of San John, the terrain becomes more rugged and drier, yet the area appears scoured by eons of water erosion. This is Tucumcari, the town of 1,500 rooms. The Economy Inn is on the right, and further down on the right is the Blue Swallow Motel, which has been restored and is open. On the left, we see the famous Motel Safari. We're west of Tucumcari and heading north on Highway 84. 84 follows the old alignment of Route 66 through Santa Fe. The later alignment goes through Klein's Corner and straight into Albuquerque. We're almost out of light for the day. We'll drive past Santa Fe on the interstate tonight to meet up with the newer alignment of Route 66 in Albuquerque around midnight. We'll stay overnight in Albuquerque. It's Wednesday morning and we're headed west through Albuquerque on Central Avenue. There's the Luna Lodge. Central follows the later alignment of Route 66. There's the De Anza Motor Lodge. Up ahead is the Aztec Motel. This is downtown Albuquerque. The Avalon Restaurant is on the right. This is the bridge over the Rio Grande on the west side of town. This is the far west side of Albuquerque. The valley looks more like an erosion ditch than a folding of the land. West of Albuquerque, Route 66 and I-40 share the same right-of-way. This bridge is at Rio Porco. It's a Parker through truss built in 1933. It was fabricated by the Kansas Steel Company and was erected by F.D. Shuffleberger of Albuquerque. There's snow on the top of the mountains in the distance. I-40 continues to run on top of Route 66 here. As we head west, the terrain starts to look more and more like eastern Arizona. We're on the Indian Reservation, somewhat east of Grants. There's a number of abandoned businesses along this stretch of the old alignment. There's the remains of an old Whiting Brothers gas station. When When we get to the end of this valley, we'll be in Grants. This is a pretty stretch of the old road. We just left the Indian Reservation, and this is the town of Grants. There's the Lux Theater on the right. We're between Grants and the Continental Divide, and the scenery is rugged here. This is the town of Continental Divide. This is downtown Gallup, New Mexico. The business district's on our left, and the rail yard train station's on the right. There's road construction here. Route 66 and I-40 share the same alignment through this pass in the mountains. The geology is varied and interesting here. Looks like the road construction ends here. Arizona must be just ahead. There's the sign for Arizona. The scenery here is magnificent. It's about noon and we're 15 miles east of the Painted Desert and the Petrified Forest near Navajo. This is the entrance to the Petrified Forest and Painted Desert. Route 66 runs right through the middle of the park, perpendicular to this park road. The Painted Desert is just ahead. This is the view from the first overlook at the Painted Desert. Further down is a second overlook with another spectacular view. A continuous layer of sandstone once capped this area. Once the sandstone capstone eroded, the deposits below were unprotected from weathering and erosion. The park road loops back over Route 66 between the Painted Desert and the Petrified Forest. The geology here is also most interesting. We're heading downhill into this muddy valley, and we can see thousands of petrified logs on both sides of the road. The Porco River is at the bottom of the hill, and over time it has washed the mud away, exposing the logs. This is a typical log. Quartz and amethyst crystals are often present in the logs. Logs are strewn about all over the hillsides and in the valleys. We're back on Route 66 now, and in the town of Holbrook. There's the Motel Hotel. There's the Wigwam Motel. Sleep in a wigwam tonight. Route 66 runs along the north side of I-40 here. Joseph City is just ahead. This is Joseph City. Heritage Glass and Storage is on the right. We just crossed the Little Colorado River and we're heading into Winslow, Arizona. This is another place where Route 66 was a 4-lane and became deserted when bypassed by the interstate. This is Winslow, Arizona. We have to loop back on Route 66 eastbound to go by Winslow's famous corner. There's the guy standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. Twin Arrows is on the left. Route 66 is blocked here by the interstate, and there's a turnaround loop. We'll take the loop and pass Twin Arrows with the sun to our backs. It's closed now and protected by concrete barriers. We're west of Two Guns and west of Twin Arrows, heading to Winona, and we're starting to see some trees. We left Route 66 at Winona, and we're heading up Route 89 for a side trip to the Grand Canyon. It must be a little wetter here, and there's a thin forest of pine trees. The trees look similar in size and shape to the logs in the petrified forest. I wonder if they're the same species. We're still on 89 heading up the Grand Canyon. What's interesting is this red desert that we're going through with nothing but tumbleweeds. Off in the distance over there is the Painted Desert, same gulch that we took photos of some hours ago. We're just coming up to the north end of the thing. Little town up ahead is gray, and I was wondering if there was going to be a motel there, but it's become academic. We're going to press on, try to get to the Grand Canyon before dark. It's really dark now, but we're just a few miles from the entrance to the park. We made it to the first overlook at the canyon at last light. It's cold and windy up here. We'll spend the night here and photograph the canyon at dawn. It's dawn on Thursday, and we're at the first overlook on the south rim of the Grand Canyon. As we move from overlook to overlook, the sun moves higher in the sky. This is a Desert View overlook. This is at Lippon Point. This is Moran Point. We're on our way back to the park entrance. It'll take us about an hour to get back to Williams, Arizona, and Route 66. This is Williams, Arizona, and we're back on Route 66. I-40 and Route 66 share the same right-of-way through this pass as we head west from Williams. This is Ash Fork, Arizona. The Highline Motel is on the left. We left the interstate at I-39. This is one of the longest stretches of Route 66 that's furthest from an interstate. We're headed to Seligman, Peach Springs, Hackberry, Kingman, Oatman, and finally into Needles, California. We're east of Seligman, and there's a bit of plant life here. It must be a bit wetter. This is the Snow Cap in Seligman, another Route 66 institution. We'll go inside and order a cheeseburger with cheese. There's the famous door with two knobs on it. Juan, the proprietor of the shop, greets us with a mustard bottle.
Let me give you a little mustard.
He also gives us straw for our malted.
These are the real straws, sir.
Oh, okay.
Real straws.
This is Peach Springs, the next town west of Seligman. We'll stop and buy a permit from the Indians to drive Peach Springs Road down to the Colorado River. This is the road to Peach Springs Canyon. We go through the Indian village of Peach Springs on the way to the canyon. The road turns to gravel at the start of the canyon. As we understand it, it's 20 miles from here to the Colorado River. This isn't too bad. There's also signs of moisture and some vegetation. I think that puddle is the start of Peach Springs. There's sort of an oasis to the left, with real trees. There's a small trickle of water in the stream bed to our right. There's no room for both the road and the stream through this pass, so the road runs down the middle of the stream. Hang on, Einstein. There's a lot of water here and a lot of plant life. Well, we're 20 miles from town and on the bank of the Colorado River. I hope we make it back. We're standing at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. The north rim is up there. We're standing in the middle of Peach Springs Creek now, and there are rapids where it runs into the Colorado. we'll head back to the town of Peach Springs and resume our trip on Route 66. I think that was hackberry. We almost missed it. This is Old Kingman, Arizona, down by the railroad station. We're west of Kingman on our way to Oatman. The road just runs across the valley floor. There are no bridges over the dry washes. When it rains, they just close the road. The road is slow here as we climb the mountains to Oatman. We just came over the hill here to find we're in Oatman. We were the only car on the road, and now we're in a traffic jam. The road down the west side of the mountain is much easier. There's some settlement here in the valley, and enough water for palm trees. There are signs it's getting wetter as we head west. We must be getting close to the Colorado River. There are real trees here, and they don't look to be irrigated. We're on the bridge over the Colorado River. There's more sea containers heading east. California is just ahead. We're on Interstate 40 in California, heading to Needles. I-40 shares the same alignment here with Route 66. We're on a long stretch of the old road, and the sun is almost set. Needles is about 5 miles ahead. We'll stop there for the night. This is Needles, California. There are a lot of motels in Needles. We'll find the Motel 6 and stay there tonight. It's Friday morning and we're leaving Needles on Old Route 66 for Los Angeles, Sunset Strip, and Santa Monica. This road has some traffic. It's also the road from Needles to Las Vegas. There's sort of an oasis here with some big palm trees. After the train passes, that truck will head north to Las Vegas. We turn west here toward Goffs to stay on Old Route 66. We're the only ones on the road again as we press westward. It seems like we've been paralleling the train tracks all the way since Chicago. This is the town of Essex. There wasn't much to it. I think this is Chambliss. There's a bridge here. This place must get water occasionally. That was the Roadrunners restaurant west of Chambliss, now closed. This is Amboy, population 20. Roy's Motel and Restaurant is on the right. That black mound of lava is Amboy Crater. There's more lava to our left. This is Ludlow, California. This is the town of Daggett. This is Barstow. We were expecting the countryside to be populated all the way from Barstow to LA, but it's not. We're almost to Victorville. We're coming into Victorville. This bridge is pretty impressive, especially since there's no water under it. This is Victorville. We just went over Cajon Summit on Interstate 15. I-15 and Route 66 share this same right-of-way. Route 66 is below grade from the interstate up to our left and is called Cajon Boulevard. It runs from here all the way into San Bernardino in LA. Route 66 used to be a 4-lane here, but it's been downgraded to just 2 lanes. Up ahead we see another BNSF train. No, wait a minute, the locomotives are Union Pacific. Cajon Boulevard ends here in San Bernardino, and we turn due south on Mount Vernon. We're heading south now on Mount Vernon in San Bernardino. We turned off Mount Vernon onto 5th Street, and now we're heading due west. It's appropriate at this point to say that we're rolling stately into Big LA. 5th Street becomes Foothill Boulevard. The speed limit is 50 here, and the motels look like typical Route 66 motels. We passed the San Bernardino Motel, and there's another Wigwam Motel. As we get closer to LA, it gets greener. We're on Huntington, passing Eastern Avenue on the left. We're crossing the LA River, which is now just a concrete trough. This stretch of Sunset Boulevard is called Cesar Chavez Boulevard. We're on Sunset and we just passed Coronado. We saw the Hollywood sign up on the hill for the first time. The more modern alignment of Route 66 goes down Santa Monica Boulevard. We're taking the Sunset Boulevard alignment through Hollywood because it's late Friday night and we want to come off the line at Sunset and Vine, fly past La Brea, Schwab's, and Crescent Heights. When we get to Doheny, we plan to go into a swerve, but we'll save it before we get to Dead Man's Curve. We're coming off the line at Sunset and Vine. We're crossing La Brea. The Virgin Records megastore on the left sits on the old location of Schwab's Pharmacy at the corner of Sunset and Laurel. This is Crescent Heights. This is Doheny Drive. If you go straight when sunset bears left, you head into Beverly Hills on Doheny. We think this downhill S-curve may be Dead Man's Curve. We moved over to the newer alignment on Santa Monica Boulevard. This is downtown Santa Monica. It's taken us most of one day to go 80 miles from San Bernardino to Santa Monica. This is Santa Monica and Lincoln, the end of Route 66. We're now a few blocks west of Lincoln, and Santa Monica Boulevard ends at the palm trees on the beach up ahead. This is the famous Santa Monica Pier on the Pacific Ocean. We'll end our Route 66 video trip here. After a week on the road, we're looking for a little R&R tonight. That's it for the show today. I hope you enjoyed our trip out Route 66. I know we did. Now it's back to work in the shop. We've got more cars to fix and more shows to make. So until next time, thanks for coming. Glad you were here. Keep the shiny side up. We'll see you at the vintage races. Information about any of the projects we've worked on today, please visit our website at www.vintagegarage.com. There's a link to our email address on the website. Please email us. We'd like to hear from you. Till next time, keep the shiny side up. Thanks for coming. See you next week.